Washington Redskins jokes, NFL jokes. Q. What's the difference between O.J. Simpson and the Redskins? A. O.J. at least had a defense. Q. What do they call a drug ring in Washington, D.C.? A. A huddle. Q. What's the difference between the Washington Redskins and Cheerios? A. Cheerios belongs in a bowl. Q. Why did Donovan McNabb cross the road? A. To get to the hospital on the other side. Q. Wanna hear a joke? A. The Washington Redskins. Q. How many Redskins fans does it take to change a light bulb? A. None. They are happy living in the Cowboys' shadow. Q. What's the difference between the Redskins and cigarettes? A. Eli Manning doesn't smoke cigarettes. Q. What's the difference between a vacuum cleaner and the Washington Redskins? A. There's only one dirtbag in a vacuum cleaner. Q. What did the Redskins fan say after his team won the Super Bowl? A. Damn it, Mom, why'd you wake me up? I was having an amazing dream. Q. How are the Redskins like my neighbors? A. They can't pick up a single yard. Q. What was RGII's latest injury in a Washington Redskins uniform? A. A torn labia. Q. Want to hear a Redskins joke? A. Alfred Morris. Q. What do the Washington Redskins and a Chick-fil-A manager have in common? A. Neither one shows up for work on Sunday. Q. Why is Alfred Morris like a grizzly bear? A. Every fall he goes into hibernation. Q. Why did the chicken cross the road? A. 'Cause Albert Hainsworth was trying to eat him. Q. What's the difference between the Washington Redskins and a dollar bill? A. You can still get 4 quarters out of a dollar bill. Q. What do the Washington Redskins and possums have in common? A. Both play dead at home and get killed on the road. Q. What is the difference between a Redskins fan and a baby? A. The baby will stop whining after a while. Q. How many Washington Redskins does it take to change a tire? A. 1, unless it's a blowout, in which case they all show up. Q. What do you call 53 millionaires around a TV watching the Super Bowl? A. The Washington Redskins. Q. What do the Washington Redskins and Billy Graham have in common? A. They both can make 70,000 people stand up and yell Jesus Christ. Q. How do you keep an Washington Redskins out of your yard? A. Put up goalposts. Q. Why are so many Washington Redskins players claiming they have the swine flu? A. So they don't have to touch the pigskin. Q. What is a Washington Redskins fan's favorite wine? A. We can't beat New Orleans. Q. How do you stop an Washington Redskins fan from beating his wife? A. Dress her in New York blue. Q. What is th difference between a bucket of shit and an Washington Redskins fan? A. The bucket. Q. If you have a car containing a Redskins wide receiver, a Redskins linebacker, and a Redskins defensive back, who is driving the car? A. The cop. Q. How do you castrate an Washington Redskins fan? A. Kick his sister in the mouth. Q. What should you do if you find 3 Washington Redskins football fans buried up to their neck in cement? A. Get more cement. Q. What's the difference between a Washington Redskins fan and a carp? A. One is a bottom-feeding scum sucker, and the other is a fish. Q. How did the Washington Redskins fan die from drinking milk? A. The cow fell on him. Q. What does an Washington Redskins fan do when his team has won the Super Bowl? A. He turns off the PlayStation 3. Q. What do you call an Washington Redskin in the Super Bowl? A. A referee. Q. Did you hear that Washington's football team doesn't have a website? A. They can't string 3 Ws together. Q. How many Washington Redskins fans does it take to change a light bulb? A. None. Lava lamps don't burn out, man. Q. What does a Washington Redskins fan and a bottle of beer have in common? A. They're both empty from the neck up. Q. Why do Washington Redskins fans keep their season tickets on their dashboards? A. So they can park in handicap spaces. Q. How do the Redskins spend the first week of training camp? A. Studying the Miranda rights. Q. What's the best way to teach your dog to roll over and play dead? A. Have him watch a couple Washington Redskins games. Q. How do you keep a Redskins fan from masturbating? A. You paint his dick New Orleans gold and he won't beat it for 4 years. Q. Why do the Washington Redskins want to change their name to the Washington Tampons? A. Because they are only good for one period and do not have a second string. Q. What's the difference between the Washington Redskins and the Taliban? A. The Taliban has a running game. Q. Where do you go in Washington, D.C. in case of a tornado? A. FedEx Field, they never get a touchdown there. Q. Why do ducks fly over FedEx Field upside down? A. There's nothing worth craping on. Q. Why are Washington Redskins jokes getting dumb and dumber? A. Because Redskins fans have started to make them up themselves. Q. What's the difference between Washington Redskins fans and mosquitoes? A. Mosquitoes are only annoying in the summer. Did you hear that FedEx Field had to be resodded? That's really sad when you can't even get your own grass to root for you. Child welfare *. A 7-year-old boy was at the center of a Fulton County courtroom drama yesterday when he challenged a court ruling over who should have custody of him. The boy has a history of being beaten by his parents and the judge initially awarded custody to his aunt, in keeping with child custody law and regulation requiring that family unity be maintained to the highest degree possible. The boy surprised the court when he proclaimed that his aunt beat him more than his parents and he adamantly refused to live with her. When the judge then suggested that he live with his grandparents, the boy cried and said that they also beat him. After considering the remainder of the immediate family and learning that domestic violence was apparently a way of life among them, the judge took the unprecedented step of allowing the boy to propose who should have custody of him. After 2 recesses to check legal references and confer with the child welfare officials, the judge granted temporary custody to the Washington Redskins, whom the boy firmly believes are not capable of beating anyone. Cowboys fan. On the first day of school, a first-grade teacher explains to her class that she is a Redskins fan. She asks her students to raise their hands if they, too, are Redskins fans. Wanting to impress their teacher, everyone in the class raises their hand except one little girl. The teacher looks at the girl with surprise. "Janie, why didn't you raise your hand?" "Because I'm not a Redskins fan," she replied. The teacher, still shocked, asked, "Well, if you are not a Redskins fan, then who are you a fan of?" "I am a Cowboys fan, and proud of it," Janie replied. The teacher could not believe her ears. "Janie, please tell us why you are a Cowboys fan." "Because my mom is a Cowboys fan, and my dad is Cowboys fan, so I'm a Cowboys fan too." "Well," said the teacher in a obviously annoyed tone, "that is no reason for you to be a Cowboys fan. You don't have to be just like your parents all of the time. What if your mom was an idiot and your dad was a moron? What would you be then?" "Then," Janie smiled, "I'd be a Redskins fan."